Hello everybody from wherever you're joining me. Today's daf is Shevuot Daf 27 Amud A. Thank you for joining me and let's dive straight in. Nishba vata es ha-mitzvah velo bito teil poto l'kayem velo kiyem poto shehaya bedin sheyehei chayav bedivri Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei. If one takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah. So what does that mean in the footnote? Nishba levata es a mitzvah. Taking an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah. One who takes an oath not to perform a mitzvah and performs the mitzvah, and then performs that mitzvah, is not liable to an oath on an utterance. He is liable for taking an oath in vain, and in any case he is obligated to perform the mitzvah. An example where one says, "On my oath I will not eat matzah on the first night of Passover," he is liable to receive lashes for an oath taken in vain, as he is obligated to eat matzah on the first night of Passover. If one takes an oath that includes more than just the mitzvah, such as, "On my oath I will not eat matzah," the oath takes effect, and it's prohibited for eating matzah even on the first night of Passover. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Flora Hilchos Shevuot 5:14, Shulchan Aruch Yodea 236.5, and see the comment of Ramana Shach there. And he does not refrain. He is exempt from bringing an offering for an oath on an utterance. If he takes an oath to perform a mitzvah, then his brother Kaim as a mitzvah. One who takes an oath to perform a mitzvah and did not perform it is not liable for an oath on an utterance. He is liable to receive lashes for taking an oath in vain. Sefer Flora Hilchos Shevuot 5:16, Shulchan Aruch Yodea 262. And he does not perform it, he is also exempt. Now it would have been fitting to claim that he is liable to bring the offering, in accordance with the statement of Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei. Kedivri Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei. In other words, based on his statement, one would think that the oath taker would be liable, as the mission proceeds to elaborate, Rashi. Other the commentators have a different text in which they claim, though it would have been fitting to argue that he is liable to bring the offering, is itself a statement of Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei, meaning that according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei, though deeming one who takes such an oath liable might have been a reasonable conclusion, in fact the halacha is that one who takes an oath to observe a mitzvah and then does not do so is exempt. They explain that according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei, this is the case only with regard to an oath not to violate a prohibition. By contrast, oaths to perform positive mitzvah do take effect, and one is liable to bring an offering for taking such an oath falsely, as the mission states in the continuation, Tosfot Harosh. According to the Baal HaMaor, the rabbi's opinion that one is exempt from bringing an offering for a false oath to perform a mitzvah does not mean that the oath does not take effect. It does in fact take effect, and one is liable to receive lots of intentionally breaking one's word. See Numbers 33, chapter 30, verse 3. He cites the Gemara in the Dam 8a that quotes the verse, "I have sworn and I have confirmed it to observe your righteous ordinances," in Psalms 119 and 106, as a proof of the fact that it is permitted to vow and take oath as a means of encouraging oneself to perform mitzvah. The Ramban holds that although it is permitted to declare in the form of an oath, one's commitment to perform a positive mitzvah, such as an oath does not take effect, and the person is not liable to receive lashes for failing to fulfill it. The Rashba cites the Baal HaMaor approvingly and adds, citing the Jewish Talmud, that it is the worthy act to take oaths not to violate prohibition as well. See Torah Chaim. The Mishnah explains, Rabbi Yehuda ben Batei said, "What if, with regard to an oath concerning an optimal matter for which one is not under oath from Mount Sinai, he is liable for breaking it? Then with regard to an oath about a mitzvah for which he is under oath from Mount Sinai, is it not logical that he would be liable for breaking it?" The rabbi said to him, "No. If you said that one is liable for breaking an oath concerning an optional action, where the Torah render one liable for a negative oath not to perform it, like for a positive oath to perform it, shall you not also say one is liable to regard to breaking an oath concerning a mitzvah, where the Torah did not render one liable for a negative oath like that for a positive oath? Since if one takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah, he did not refrain, he is exempt." The sages taught in a Braita, one might have thought that when one takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah and does not refrain, he would be liable to bring an offering for an utterance on an oath. To counter this, the verse states, to do evil or to do good, in Leviticus 5:4. Just as doing good is referred to as an oath about an optional action, so to doing evil is referred to as an oath about an optional action. And I will therefore exclude from liability one who takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah and does not refrain, so that he is exempt from bringing the offering. The Braita continues. One might have thought that when one takes an oath to perform a mitzvah and does not perform it, that he would be liable. The counter the verse states to do evil or to do good. Just as doing evil is referring to an oath about an optional action, so too doing good is referring to an oath about an optional action, and therefore I will therefore exclude that from liability one takes an oath to perform a mitzvah and does not perform it, so that he is exempt from bringing the offering. One might have thought that when one takes an oath to harm himself, nishba lahavan la'atzmo, there is a dispute in the Gemara in Bava Kama 91b with regard to whether it is permitted to physically damage oneself. Some earlier commentaries point out that this oath takes effect only according to the opinion that it is permitted to do so. Tatzvot Arosh and Bal HaMaor. The Ran holds that the oath will take effect even according to the opinion that harming oneself is prohibited, because that prohibition is not explicitly mentioned in the Torah. One who took an oath to perform a mitzvah and did not perform it is not liable for an oath on an utterance. He is liable to receive lashes for taking an oath in vain. Oh, so I've said that one. Nitzbah lahawla asma takes an oath to harm himself. In the case of one who takes an oath to do a harm to himself, e.g. to hit himself, although doing so is prohibited, the oath takes effect, and he does not cause himself harm. He does not cause himself harm, he is liable for an oath and an utterance. Shevuot 5:17, 236:2 in the comment of the Ramah. And he does not harm himself, then he could be exempt from liability. The verse states to do evil or to do good. Just as doing good is referring to an oath about an optional action, so too doing evil is referring to an oath about an optional action. I include as liable one who takes an oath to harm himself and does not harm himself, since it is his prerogative to harm himself or not. One might have thought that when one takes an oath to harm others and does not harm them, that he would be liable. To counter this, the verse states to do evil or to do good. Just as doing good is referring to an oath about an optional action, so too doing evil is referring to an oath about an optional action. I will therefore exclude from liability one who takes an oath to harm others. One who took an oath to cause harm to others, e.g. to strike another or to curse him, is not liable for an oath and an utterance, but is liable to receive lashes for taking an oath in vain. I'm saying Shevuot 5:16, 6:2, and he does not harm them, since it is not his prerogative to do so. From where is it derived that taking an oath that concerns doing good to others is included? In the case of one who takes an oath to do good to others in a manner that it is possible for him to do, the oath goes into effect. If he violates it, he is liable for an oath and an utterance. Shevuot 5:17. Among the oaths for which one may be liable, verse 8 or to do good, and one is harming others. An example is when one takes an oath saying, I will strike so and so and injure his brain. The Braita assumes throughout that to do evil or to do good is referring to optional actions. The Gemara asks, from where do we know that these verses are written referring to optional matters? Perhaps they're written referring to matters involving a mitzvah. The Gemara rejects this, that it should not enter your mind, since we require that doing good to be similar to doing evil, and doing evil to be similar to doing good, as doing evil is juxtaposed to doing good in the verse. If one stipulates that the verse is referring to matters involving a mitzvah, then just as doing good does not involve refraining from performing a mitzvah, but must involve performing a mitzvah, e.g. an oath to eat matzah on Passover, so too doing evil does not involve refraining from performing a mitzvah, e.g. an oath not to eat leavened bread on Passover. The result of this reasoning is that doing evil in the verse is itself doing good, in that it will always involve taking oath to keep mitzvot, and likewise doing good is juxtaposed to doing evil, just as doing evil does not involve performing a mitzvah, as it would then not be doing evil, so too doing good does not involve performing a mitzvah. Doing good in the verse is itself doing evil, in that it does not involve the form of mitzvah. The Gemara asks, and if that is so, that doing evil and doing good are compared in this manner, you do not find that the verse can be interpreted even with regard to optional matters, and the same sort of contradiction could be generated. Rather, one may derive that the verse is referring to optional matters from the fact that it was necessary for the verse to write or to do good, in order to include liability for oath involves some doing good to others. Ela mit its hatarich o the Rabbath of Ataras Achevim. The Ritva explains that the derivation is not merely from the superfluous word or, but from the fact that the verse needed to mention or to do good. If the verse was referring exclusively to the matters of mitzvah, then one could derive a fortiori that one is liable for an oath to do good, i.e. to keep a mitzvah, from the fact that one is liable for an oath to do evil, i.e. to do something prohibited. Conclude from it that these verses are written referring to optional matters, as if it should enter your mind that the verses are written referring to matters involving a mitzvah, there is a difficulty. Now that doing evil to others has been included, i.e. when one takes an oath to refrain from performing a mitzvah, it is necessary to mention doing good to others. No one challenges, but this or is necessary in order to separate them, i.e. to indicate that one can be liable for either type of oath. Had the verse said to do evil and to do good, one might have assumed that one is liable only for oaths that involve both. The Gemara answers, a verse is unnecessary in order to separate, as it is clear that either sort of oath is included. The Gemara asks, this works well according to Rabbi Yochanan's opinion concerning the interpretation of conjunctions, but according to Rabbi Yeshia's opinion, what can be said? So what's the footnote? This dispute appears several times in the Talmud. Both Tanaim agree that when the Torah uses the word or, it should be understood as a logical disjunction, like its usual meaning in English. They disagree with regards to the correct interpretation of the connecting vav, which is usually translated as a logical conjunction, i.e. the word and. Rabbi Yoshia maintains that it should be interpreted strictly as a logical conjunction unless the Torah specifies otherwise. Rabbi Yochanan holds that the connecting vav can mean and. It can also mean or, depending on context. In the present context, when the Torah says, take an oath clearly with his lips to do evil, or to do good, this is 5:4, using the conjunction or, rather than a simple vav, then the word or is superfluous according to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. It is therefore available as a source of which to derive liability for oaths that involve doing good to others, as in the Gemara. According to the opinion of Rabbi Shia, the word or is necessary in order to convey that one is liable for oaths that involve doing good as well as for oaths that involve doing evil. And Gemara explains, as it is taught in a Braita, from the verse, a man who curses his father and his mother shall die, Leviticus 29, and derived only that one is liable if he curses both his father and his mother. From where do I derive that if one curses his father but not his mother, or his mother but not his father, he is liable? Ima below Aviv. One who curses his father or mother with one of the divine names, even after they have died, to be stoned if he did so in the presence of witnesses after being forewarned. If he cursed them without mentioning one of the divine names, liable to receive lashes like anyone who curses a fellow Jew. And say for Shevuot Daf Hilchot Mamim 5:1-2, Shulchan Yodei 2:41-1. The continuation of the verse states, his father and his mother he has cursed, his blood is upon him. In the first part of the verse, the word curses is in proximity to his father, and in the last part of the verse, curse is in proximity to his mother. This teaches that the verse is referring to both a case where he cursed only his father and a case where he cursed only his mother. This is the statement of Rabbi Shia. Rabbi Shia maintains that the conjunctions are interpreted strictly unless the verse indicates otherwise. Rabbi Yochanan says there is no need for this derivation because the phrase his father and his mother indicates that one is liable if he curses both of them together. But it also indicates that he is liable if he curses either one of them on their own, unless the verse specifies that one is liable if he curses both of them together. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best. Bye.